The Abba comeback. Good or bad? Welcome to Mark and Pete Live. I'm Pete the clergyman. With me, as ever, is Mark the businessman. So, what are we doing about this week? It's not Abba again, is it?
Oh, it is. Yes, our great ABBA fans
We're big
are
fans. We're big fans.
absolutely celebrating the fact that for 40 years since their last studio album, ABBA have finally brought out a new one and the most anticipated comeback in music history. Yes, indeed, the release of their new record called Voyage. It's a 10-track album and it's been very much divided in terms of opinions. On the good side, many people have said, like Rolling Stone, it's vintage ABBA on par with their classic 1970s run, and they've given it a 4-star review. However, many people are not so complimentary. The Guardian's 2-star writer warned that Voyage is a disappointment that languishes in often baffling retrograde settings. Well, my take on this, folks, is beware. Yes, I know that Benny and Bjorn, and obviously all of the fans who like their songs and their writings, should think about this. Finally meeting your Waterloo. A musical pop return can help you earn, especially when you're virtually touring, but you'll soon learn as sales fail to churn and your new songs sound too boring. Clergyman Pete, I ask you, what's your take on ABBA's new Voyage?
Well, I think that they made an interesting attempt at a comeback. I've only listened to a little bit of it, but it does seem to me that they were going for the same feel that they had in their popular songs. They're
Yes.
going for that feel, the slightly plaintive tone of it, but then moving into an upbeat, positive vibe, but still with that sort of yearning in it that they always had, which in that you find that there's a little bit. It's almost like it's edgy in such a full blown mainstream song, and yet there's a little bit of edge to it because of the slight feeling of sadness in a lot of the songs. And so I think they're going for that again. It feels to me that that note of sadness or plaintiveness feels different if someone's in their 20s versus someone in their 70s. And all the members of ABBA in the 70s, the youngest is
Yes.
71. So it feels different now. It feels sadder. I think the sadness has taken over from the joy.
Well, the sadness, sadly, is that some people think it is boring. I mean, the album
Yeah, yeah,
comes two
that too.
months
Yeah.
after the Swedish pop band released the first two songs. The first one was I Still Have Faith in You. Well, we've lost faith. And the other one was called And Don't Shut Me Down. Well, maybe somebody should. Now, The Guardian's Jude Rogers said the glamour promised by this album's two terrific singles goes horribly unfulfilled. Rather than reflecting poignantly on the past, much of the rest of the Voyage feels terminally stuck there. Now, it's quite damning, but I will say that ABBA fans do like this song and many others. It will be perhaps something that grates on them when they read further on the Rolling Stones particular review, which says little things under stomach churning filler. Well, I must admit that some of the comments are perhaps unkind, but what I will say is this: they ABBA as a band were never really truly in vogue. I mean, when you think about their style, they weren't really truly glam rock. If you think of the 1970s, they sort of came off the wave of that and moved into disco. And when you think about their image as well, was sort of their strange outfits that looked like something fallen off a Christmas tree. Some people thought, well, that's rather tacky, and it doesn't really go with the style of the day. But they were very successful. They sold millions of albums, and they had 9 number one singles in the United Kingdom alone, and many other places around the world. So you can't argue with the fact that they were great songwriters, and as pop artists, they were very successful. Now it's early days in terms of the success commercially of Voyage. But what I would say is that, and I want to open this question, Clergyman Pete. What
Mhm.
about those fans who feel that maybe Voyage is ruining their legacy? What's your thoughts there?
Well, I think personally, I think it's too early because they're in the 70s, but the majority of them are looking quite fit. Yeah. I don't want to say which because I can never tell them apart. But yeah, but they're looking good for their age, all of them, I think. And I think they could go for a few more years. I don't think you need to see this as necessarily a one-off return album. They could keep going. Why not keep going? That's what I say. If you're enjoying it, as they say they're doing, go for another album and do it right and see how this one pans out first. Maybe we will find once it's had time to sit with people a bit, that the fans will really enjoy it, and the critics, I guess, will be critics. It's whether the fans enjoy it, isn't it? So, I would say it's not going to spoil their legacy, in that their legacy hasn't been written yet. They're not in the history books yet. They can keep going, and I would say keep going. It's never too late to make a comeback.
Well, that's true. What I was interested in as well is that some people feel that the style of the whole album is a little bit strange and confused, as they
Mm.
have been commented. In fact, I was quite interested in one comment that said, despite the piano on the song Just a Notion being dangerously reminiscent of Shaking Stevens, which
Yes.
isn't necessarily a bad thing.
No, no, no. We're big fans of Jackie Stevens on this
Well,
show.
indeed,
Yeah.
and you
Mm.
have to accept that he was also extremely successful in the 1980s. You do wonder is that maybe this is just simply a gain to sort of buck the trend. When we think about the trend today, with so many rappers and people who artists of that nature, you could say, well, isn't it time for something different? And when you do try and bring something different out into the market, there is a lot of criticism because people are looking to say, well, look, you need to modernize yourself. Well, what is truly modern? I mean, that's subjective, I guess.
Mm. Yeah.
What I do have an issue with is this, and this is something that perhaps many of the fans, or we'd love to get your comments on. Now, the actual band members themselves are not necessarily intending to go on a global tour. This is where they physically go around. It's nothing to do with COVID-19. It's just simply the fact that maybe what they've decided to do is create avatars. So essentially, there's a well-known footage, if you've seen the media, where the band members wore motion capture suits to create avatars of their forthcoming virtual concerts. Now, if I was a fan, say, for example, and I wanted to see these heroes, I would want to see them as they are today, surely. What's the point of creating avatars? I mean, I want to get your view on that.
Yes, I think that's I think it's a mistake to just do that. If that's the thing they go for, I don't see a problem with them doing it. It's quite an interesting creative choice. But I think you want to see the people, don't you? You want to see your artists performing for you. I think that if you're going to have the avatar, don't just have the avatar. Even in the one video, you could easily have done them morphing into the real life and back out again, or something like that. So I would say not a problem having the avatar, but let's see the actual performers.
Yes. I think obviously it has to be judged. What I was interested in is Anderson told the BBC that we don't need to prove anything here, adding, I don't think we're taking a risk because if people think that we're better 40 years ago, fine. So I think they've already thought through the legacy issue. And I'm glad of that because I guess that what they're really trying to do is that they want to just play music that they feel strongly about and feel that is something that their audience could follow. I think what I would be interested to see is that can they be persuaded to do another one.
Yeah.
Now, this is really where I think there has been some indications here where Benny and Bjorn have said, well, maybe this is just really it. It's almost like their swan song. I hope it isn't, because I think that when I do look back at the ABBA catalogue, this is just my view. I don't think this necessarily holds up into the same standing as their previous work. But it may be, knowing that they've written for other people and they've done songs for many, many theatre shows and other things. I actually think they've probably got more in them to show what they can do. So I would rather they didn't give up. and I'd not pander to the whims of the media, or just simply just trying to sort of follow a particular style or genre, is do what they do best and just write good songs. So maybe what we should do as a call out here is just ask some of the fans, do they think that this is a good swan song, or would they like to see more?
Yes, let us know. Let us know. Do you want to see more? I mean, I would say, yeah, do more, do more. But remember the old adage: you're only ever as good as your last performance, or I guess
Oh,
your last
yes.
album. So bear
Yes.
that in mind. But
Come
I
on,
would say, you know,
Benny. Come
take
on,
the risk,
Bjorn.
do it. Yes, let's do it. Let's get some more, and let us know. And also remember to like this video; it helps with the algorithm. And we'll catch you next time because that's all from us here on Market Beat for this time. Bye.